Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a 2021 launch, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Chronograph White Gold Frosted Gold. So the timepiece is 41 millimeters in diameter. It's the 2021 redesign of the Royal Oak Chrono. Some changes to the dial, some changes to the architecture of the crown guard structure, and a new movement, all part of the package. We also have the frosted gold technique created in conjunction with jeweler Carolina Bucchi, and as you can see, it is a gorgeous chiseled profile that breaks nicely with the satin and the polish. The timepiece is 41 millimeters in diameter. It is 12.5 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, it is 51.7 millimeters. Though if you measure these little intermediate links, the actual rigid distance across the wrist, see how I can't pull it straight down? The total distance across the wrist is a beefier 53.8 millimeters. Now, taking a look at the watch on the wrist, it is spectacular, and a big part of that is the fact that AP uses some sort of platinum family material on top of the white gold to create a blindingly white surface. Now, this watch is hefty. It both looks and feels like platinum, so robust and redoubtable is this combination of case, bracelet, and clasp. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, you can see it more or less pushes right out to the edge. So maybe this will fit on a wrist as small as 15 centimeter circumference, but certainly no smaller than that. I'm right on the limit here. That said, if you zoom out a little bit, it doesn't look quite as huge relative to my hand or my arm, and it is fairly flat. It will slide underneath the dress cuff, so no problems in that regard. Taking a quick look at the bracelet, you can see that it's the typical integrated profile as designed by Gerald Genta in 1972 for the first Royal Oak, but it is also more, as we have this micro-chiseled pattern that's created using a micro drill bit, and there are thousands upon thousands of little indentations. Impressively, the finishing, which takes even more than the usual 9 to 11 hours of a standard Royal Oak bracelet, it includes a remarkably clean break between the polish, the satin, and the chiseled elements. You can even see these little intermediate links have polished ends. Now, taking a look at the removable links, you can see they're fixed in place by screws. We have a double folding clasp, also of white gold. You can see it closes sequentially one side before the other, and it is a twin trigger release. It is quite secure. The bracelet is fixed to the case using screws and bars, which is more reassuring and a little bit more expensive to achieve than spring bars, but again, a little bit more secure as well. Since the 2017 redesign of the Royal Oak Chronograph, we've had this look of shouldered chronograph pushers with the hexagonal rings around them, and you can see they have those little hexagonal shoulders, but they are not screw-down pushers. They have the look of the old screw-down pushers, but they operate as conventional pump-style pushers, which means you can always actuate the chronograph system. The crown is also hexagonal in form. It is screw-down. The watch is 50 meters water resistant, so it has the same water resistance as the previous screw-down pusher Royal Oak Chrono. The bezel is an iconic piece, and you can see here it has 3 different finishes. On the side, satin, and then there's a polished edge, then there's chiseling along the top. And what's fascinating to me is that the hexagonal bolts in the bezel are an unplated white gold. So you have this white gold, which might be flashed in palladium or platinum or rhodium, and it is as white as platinum. But then you have the little hex bolts, and they have a little bit of a warmer tone as they are uncoated white gold. So there's more than just a contrast in finish, one being polished, one being chiseled. There is also a slight contrast in color. Sapphire crystal, of course. We have the Grande Tapisserie dial. It is the large hobnail cut on a pantograph. And of course, these are executed in-house at Audemars Piguet, and they have been since 2012. We have symmetrical registers, a change from the 2017 to 2020 design. So the constant seconds, the chronograph minutes, and chronograph hours, all of these registers are now the same size. There is a satin finished array of micro finishes inside these sub-registers. You can see each one has a polished chaptering outboard. Then you have a bright silver metallic ring with the calibrations and then a concentric pattern at center. White gold hands, indices, and Audemars Piguet logo. Let's do a quick lume shot here. You can see the watch has plenty of lume. The chronograph is a flyback chronograph, which means you can reset and restart with a single push of the trigger. You don't need to stop it first. The watch now has an in-house chronograph caliber. It reprises the previous hacking seconds function as well as a quick set date, so you have that functionality should you desire to change. You can also see one of the nice features here. The font used on the registers is the same font used. Look at the 2s and look at the 6s here. It's exactly the same. That is not always the case. Some brands don't do that well. Audemars Piguet always sweats details. Now, rolling around to the case back, you can see that new movement. Caliber 4401, part of a new family of automatic in-house chronographs from Audemars Piguet. Now 32 millimeters in diameter compared to the old 3120 with the Dubois de Praz module. So that old 31, it was called 3126 when used with the module. That was only 26 millimeters in diameter. This is now 32. It better fills the case back, and it's not a modular chrono. You can see the pushers are in line with the crown center, so it's thinner in construction. It's also a longer power reserve. We now get 70 hours of power reserve rather than the previous 60. We get a higher beat rate too for potentially better accuracy. It's now 8 beats per second rather than the old 6. It still has a full balance bridge with a free sprung balance, and you can see that up at the upper left hand corner in the image here for robust shock resistance. We have a black polished column wheel, which you can see in action, and we have a vertical clutch. What's fascinating here is that if you look, try to get this in focus here, you can just see the vertical clutch operating adjacent to the balance wheel. It's one of the few times I've been able to say you can see a vertical clutch in operation. It's a 40 joule movement, and it features a wonderfully crisp column wheel and that vertical clutch, which allows you to engage without any play in the mechanism, because there is no play in a vertical clutch. Also, you're able to leave the system running full time with no additional wear and tear with a vertical clutch because it meshes without any play. So if you just like to have your hours, minutes, and seconds at center, you can do that with this watch. These are exceptionally rare. Even though Audemars Piguet has tailored a lot of its contemporary models for mass production, particularly when a full bracelet royal oak is concerned, and especially when that royal oak includes frosted gold, the construction is much more handcrafted. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.